So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and we are now joined by Brendan Dorman. We're not saying he's the best, just saying there's nobody better. So Brendan, welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, my man.
Always speaking truth. Like to hear it.
You've been away, and the YouTube commenters are saying it's not the same without Brendan Dorman.
Really?
Yeah, one guy said that.
Yeah, the one guy.
Yeah.
Oh, one guy.
Yeah.
Well, one is better than zero.
Yeah, but like at that one guy, I was like, hey, what the fuck? What about me and Rob? But then I'm like, yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
But
If it was like 10, it'd be, a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
We'll be okay, but I miss you all too. I'm back.
He's
Excellent.
back. I just think you didn't like my sitting room from the home editions. What we're going to do is we're going to look ahead to UFC Fight Night 1, 2, 4, Stevens versus Choi. This is taking place on Sunday evening. Not too sure why that is, but Sunday evening it is. And let's look at opening the main card. People are questioning the format of the card and the layout, but opening the main card nonetheless is Kamaru Usman taking on Emil Meek in the opener. Brendan, what do you think it is? This is a great fight at welterweight. This, I think, really is going to answer a lot of questions for Usman, but as well, it's going to see where Meek is. You know, Usman is considered the boogeyman in some way of this division.
Yeah, I know Usman a little bit from my time in Florida. He's a freak of an athlete, man, and I think there's some truth in that. He's a little bit feared or whatever. I don't know what that is either. I can hear it though.
Yeah.
But anywho, his base, like, he used to kind of serve as like the wrestling coach / fighter. Like, he'd help a lot of guys with wrestling down in Boca at Black Zillions camp. Now that camp's pretty much split up. I mean,
Fucking internet, man.
What's going on?
I don't know. Brendan, you're frozen in time. Nope.
oh no,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
Do you think that was the noise?
I don't know.
I don't
It
know
seemed
what
to
that
be.
was.
You were just saying that the Black Zillions camp is starting to dissolve, basically.
No, yeah, well, I don't know that it is. I'm not down there. You know, I have friends down there that tell me things, but, you know, who knows what's true and what's not. The point being, Usman has an incredible base in grappling and has become this vicious striker. He's not the most polished, but he is another Henry Hooft guy with power.
Yeah.
You know, similar to a lot of guys that he's done really well with. The thing is he's going against another super put you to sleep one-punch striker, you know, who didn't do it last fight, but that was a super impressive win.
Yeah.
Jordan Mean, I believe, was his last one, and that was a unanimous decision. So you got a guy that's like on the cusp of breaking that, you know, that plateau of here I am, I might be on a stage soon, and you got another guy who's kind of been under the radar, but interesting fight. I see Usman probably taking it to the ground and exploiting him there. Why take a chance if you have such a dominance in one area? You know, I mean, who knows? Maybe I don't know enough about what's his name's grappling, but what is it? Mills?
Meek.
Oh, Meek. Meek Mills. Freudian.
Virtually identical.
But anywho, yeah, I don't know enough about his grappling to say for sure, but I haven't seen it, and there usually is a reason why you haven't seen it if you haven't, right?
Yeah.
So I see Usman probably taking him down, or, you know, using that to wear him down and then taking him out standing. But I like him in the fight. He's a huge favorite, by the way.
Yeah,
huge.
really big
in
favorite.
Vegas.
I really like the fight as well. Looking back at Usman's last one, it was interesting because he won by knockout. But he kind of got hit a little bit by Sergio Moraes, who I wouldn't really put on the same level as Meek or Meek, whichever way you want to say it, in terms of striking. So I definitely think, I'm not sure I agree with the odds completely. I would side with Usman, especially because of the grappling. He seems to be able to grapple pretty much everybody's fought. But
his wrestling's incredible because it's an athlete. It's like Yoel Romero and GSP, like Khabib too, but Khabib's is more technique. In a way, he's very strong and he's incredibly technical, but he's not a superhuman of an athlete, right?
Yeah.
Like Usman's like a GSP, yo, like he's a like he could have been a professional blank player. You know what I mean? He could have been he's an athlete.
Yeah.
So his grappling's based on that. Those guys are always the scariest because they can kind of just impose it when they want to, normally.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, he's an excellent. So is Meek as well. He's an excellent athlete. If you look at him, he's built like he looks like
he's jacked
an
up.
athlete. He's jacked up, and it seems like he has cardio. In his last win,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of grappling in that, and for parts of it, I think it was the second round, he was on the worst end of it, and he didn't really look too tired at the end. He didn't look completely gassed. So, it's a very interesting fight. I think it's one of them fights that will really tell you a lot about both guys and will really kind of show what the division is in the next couple of months. It will put somebody in a position of contendership.
I love fights like this, though, like crossroad fights, right? They're like meeting at the crossroads.
Exactly.
It's great. Sorry, Mo.
Yeah. Well, I think that Meek should be held and the statue should be built because he knocked Pal Harris out. And Pal Harris didn't hold on to that knockout too long.
Didn't hold on to his consciousness.
I don't know about this. What do you mean he knocked out Paul Harris?
In Venator.
In Venator.
To get into the UFC.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, after 45 seconds of
round. He's unlikable, so
yeah, exactly.
Kudos.
Yeah. That's what I mean. We should be forever grateful for him.
He's an excellent character.
In some way, Meek, there's a lot of unknown for Meek because he's promotion hopped. He's fought on Venator, he's fought on Cage 32 fight exclusive. He's super challenged. He's fought on a lot of the European scene. So a lot of them is unknown, and what we've seen is excellent. Plus, Valhalla plays the whole Viking thing.
I love his
I'm loving it.
His look.
But for the same way, Usman for some way, and I know he hasn't gone completely under the radar. But when you look at Usman, people are only really starting to talk about Usman the second half of last year.
Yeah.
And he's in the UFC since 2015, and people are really only bigging him up and talking about him now. But I agree, this is a crossroads fight, but more so. I think if Usman was to lose this, it's more damaging from him than if Meek was to lose this.
I agree.
I think Meek is only in his second UFC fight here, and he's fighting the boogeyman in the division apart from Darren Till.
You also have to talk about as well Meek's his time out as well. He's been out for almost, I think, over a year now. Since his last fight.
It's been that long?
Since this is Vija, and it doesn't actually seem that long when you look back. And watch that last fight. It doesn't seem like it was that long. It just feels like he debuted only a couple of months ago. But it's been almost a year, or maybe
he's been off in the mountains of Norway, building boats, getting ready to siege villages.
Another thing as well, he's made the move and trained with a lot of Extreme Couture. He's trained with Dewey Cooper for the last couple of months, alongside. Yeah. So I think that's a great move.
I didn't even know he was with Dewey. Sorry, Dewey.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. And he's in there.
Well, I can't watch Vegas from Massachusetts, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the big thing with Dewey. We were seeing what the fighters coming out of Dewey's camp are capable of, and the striking ability. So it'll be interesting.
He's
to see
such a good coach. His name will be there. There's a couple guys.
It seems to be now, doesn't it?
Dorman. But there's a couple guys' names that should break the surface soon. Him being one. He's gaining. Finally getting some recognition. That guy's such a great striking coach.
Do you think a little bit, Brendan, that this is almost like, MMA is still such a relatively young sport, and obviously, here in Ireland, Coach Kavanagh is well renowned now because of Conor doing what he's done and breaking through. But for a long time in MMA, it seemed to be the same coaches, didn't it? The same
Greg
gyms.
Jackson.
Yeah.
Faraz,
well, now you look at stuff like Dewey Cooper. You look at Perillo, what he's doing with that slappy landing.
Perillo recently only got kind of recognition.
We talked about Perillo, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think I had said I thought that's what I was referencing, like another guy who's like at that cusp. Striking coaches, because here's the thing: is the guys you're going to mention and the guys that go back, and the reason Kavanagh was a bit of a unicorn in Ireland, but he wouldn't be here, is the jiu-jitsu, right? Yeah. And MMA's its foundation is in Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So all the MMA schools back in the day when it was cage fighting, and I was young enough to actually do anything. It was all based on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So the school was a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school, and then they'd kind of get you ready for MMA, bring in a guy that might have boxed a little bit. It was very partitioned minus the grappling, right? The grappling was regimented. The striking was like, well, try to figure some shit out. Now people are smartening up to that. shit is not going to work anymore. It's just not. That's where Conor's kind of unicornish in the fact that if he hadn't found Kavanaugh, you know, you have to know some grappling. Even though Conor gets a lot of shit for not grappling, he's definitely not Khabib. But he doesn't have to be. Like, that's not his strength,
Exactly, yeah.
you know? His strength is in his hands. So then when you understand grappling enough from a really good coach in Kavanaugh, then all of a sudden things start to happen, you know? Because boxing alone won't do it, jiu-jitsu alone, unless you're Damian Maia. But even him now is like, people are catching up to him.
I think like Conor is a legit brown belt. John Kavanagh is not going to hand out a brown belt to a student unless he's legit. Like I know, like
I just haven't seen evidence of it though.
Yeah,
that's the only thing. I believe you, and I don't know any black belts that. Well, I do know some, but they're not on that stage that will hand out a brown belt. So I believe it by all accounts, but we haven't seen a high-level jiu-jitsu game from Conor. We just haven't seen.
I think one of the things that stands out for Conor's was, I think everyone says this when it says about the ground, with his performance against Max Holloway. Like, he nullified Max Holloway, and again, that was with a torn ACL when he was doing that. So I think if you look at that fight, yes.
They were both hurt. Max was 14 years old. I think that fight's a little bit anomalous, honestly.
Yeah, but I just mean that's one part of the fight that you've seen is jiu-jitsu. You've seen his jiu-jitsu defense against Chad Mendes. You might argue Chad Mendes rushed, I should say, the finish. But Conor's defense to get out, but Conor's defense to turn out of that and get out of that was good defense. Like you gotta tip the cap to it.
Against a black belt like Diaz, he didn't look like a brown belt.
Well, he was
also
fucked
hurt
in that fight.
I think
he was also hurt. He was hurt though, so that's what I'm just. Exactly, I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I
you
think
play
he
it
was
so
hurt.
Well.
It's not. It has nothing to do with my T-shirt. It's just we haven't seen it. We haven't seen a brown belt. Your only thing holding you from being a black belt as a brown belt is how well you teach, really. Because by the time you've hit brown belt, especially when you've been it for, I think he's been a brown belt 2 years now, like you're black belt level, you're right there. It's not, you don't get that as a consolation prize.
Interesting,
we just haven't seen it, period.
Very interesting as well is that he actually was Instagramming last night and it was all about the defense to a mounted guillotine choke, I think it was. He was rolling with Paddy Houlihan. Paddy has his own gym here in Dublin as well. Paddy, the Houlihan, former UFC
I like
fighter.
That guy.
So Paddy's jiu-jitsu is high level. So, you know, it was interesting that Conor's whole post was designated to jiu-jitsu and technique. So interesting to see if that's what he's heavily focused on. And of course, good training partner was just on the MMA hour as well today. Goody Nelson is a high-level grappler as well.
Speaking of one of the points that you made before we move on to the next one and make a pick, I hate, one of my pet peeves in MMA and pretty much in anything is when somebody says that this guy isn't good because this guy is better. Like when someone says Conor McGregor is not a good grappler because Nate Diaz is a better grappler and out-grappled him. It doesn't work like that. Just because Nate Diaz is better doesn't make the guy who lost
there's levels too. And I was being disingenuous, but I told you I was being disingenuous.
I'm not talking about that
devil's
as an
advocate.
example.
That's all.
I'm talking about that as an example.
All that transition happened because he was hurt. I mean, it's a chicken egg thing, right? With that, and it's anomalous. I'm not using that as an actual example. The point is like, is Conor going to out-grapple Khabib? Of course he's not. If you think that, then that's wishful. It's very impossibly wishful. You see what I'm saying? Like there's levels, man.
Devil's advocate,
Diaz
Brendan.
Get out-grappled the shit out of him by Khabib too.
Devil's advocate, Brendan.
Rory like he did. Go ahead. Tell me how wrong I am.
Is Khabib going to outstrike Conor?
No fucking way. Of course not.
Just thought I'd throw that in, you know.
Of course not.
But maybe he could, because I hate when people say, you see what I'm saying? Like it's all relative.
Yeah, it's
MMA.
Yeah.
He outstruck Barboza.
Yeah, he did at the time. Yeah.
He did. He absolutely did. 100%. Yeah. Not a debate. He outstruck him. Period.
So who do we fancy here? Usman and Meek. Brandon, we know sometimes you don't pick, so we're not going to put you under that. What are you thinking here, Rob?
I'm going with Usman to be able to smother him for the best part of the 3 rounds, be able to keep him on his back, be able to land enough and clinch him enough against the cage just to do enough to get a decision. But if he strikes him like he struck with Sergio Moraes, I can see him getting caught as well, because he left himself open plenty of times, and someone with the power, as Brendan said, a guy who has one punch knockout power like Meek, he can finish him. But I just think he's going to be able to out-grapple him, out-point him for the duration of the 3.
Who did you pick?
Usman.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah.
I agree with that breakout, everything you said, but do you know what? I don't know.
You gonna go for it?
These, you know.
You picking the Viking?
I'd love to pick the Viking.
He's just...
Man, he
I
plays
just
in
think he's a little unknown.
a Norwegian heavy metal band.
Yeah,
he plays in.
I just think he's a little unknown as well. Well, look,
Yes.
Brendan loves him even more. Look, but I just think he has that little bit of unknown.
How do I not know this more about this guy?
I know, right in
Jesus, I gotta study up on him.
I can't remember the name of the band, but just write in Emil Meek band and you'll find it. Yeah.
There's really good metal from over there.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
good. I went down a warm what would you call it? A rabbit hole. Went down a rabbit hole
Yeah, they
on
call it
Saturday
like
night.
Scandinavian death metal. It's
Yeah.
really, some of it's really good.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I see.
Sorry.
I agree. I agree with what Rob's saying. His breakdown and how Usman can win it. But you know, I just
Go
see
for it.
me catching him.
Do it.
I just see him
Do it.
catching him. And especially working under Dewey Cooper.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
Yeah,
what
man.
his hands look like.
It's. I honestly think it could be the element of surprise here. Like Usman, in a way, was reminding me of Mike Perry looking boy and looking past Pozanivo.
I also wonder if
Pozanivo.
he was working with Brad Tavares as well, and Brad Tavares' coach it's in on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of a K1 fighter fought Mark Hunt in a crazy fight. I don't know why I can't say it.
Banner?
Say it again.
Jerome LeBanner?
No. It'll come to me in a minute, but it just makes me wonder if he's training with him as well. Excellent striker. It'll come to me eventually. But yeah.
I'm gonna go. Meek here. The Valhalla Viking is going to ruin the parade and the party here, and it's just I think it's the unknown.
Peter
And
Ertz?
No.
Damn it, sorry.
Brendan's shouting out names now. But yeah, I'm gonna make. Are you making a selection, Brendan, or you're just gonna say good fight? Let's get it on.
Yeah, no, I'll pick. I don't see any fights I can't pick on this one.
Okay.
I'll pick Usman by TKO stoppage in the second, ground and pound. Fuck, I hate no more ground and pound. Ground striking.
See, I agree with that, but I don't know. I just the gut feeling just says.
Of course, yeah.
It's one
go
of them.
with it.
Go with it.
Go
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I
And, like,
usually go with them. If
there's
I-
not-
You'll be more mad if you don't.
Exactly,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's
exactly.
no like I know I'm not giving a super breakdown of why. I just think it's the unknown. He's working with Dewey Cooper. We've seen what Dewey Cooper's doing with his
Ray
fighters.
Cepho.
Oh, Ray
That's
Cepho.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, Ray. Ray owned World Series of Fighting.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Ray's a great guy.
I'm not sure if Meck is working with him, but he's working with Brad Tavares, who works a lot with Cepho.
Is it Meck or Meek? I'm calling him
I think
Meck
it's
and
Meck.
Meek. Okay,
You
Meck.
got Meck.
No, but I just unknown. We broke this one down for ages because we went off
I
on
know,
tangents. Next fight, Paige VanZant taking on Jessica Rose Clark. It's the return of the beauty queen in Paige VanZant. She was the picturesque girl that they wanted to promote, and then she ran into, was it Rose Namajunas she ran into first? Tisha Torres in Invicta, but in the UFC it was Rose Namajunas.
In the UFC, right.
And Rose Namajunas absolutely beat the pulp out of her. The scrambles, yeah. And then, of course,
Michelle Watterson, but I was thinking.
Michelle Watterson then beat her as well.
That was later, right?
Yeah. So this one, she has a win over Beck Rawlings, her opponent,
Which was
Rose
a
Clark,
beautiful knockout.
What are we expecting here from Paige VanZant? Is she more than just a cover picture on Sports Illustrated for the UFC?
I think in this fight the fans win. Just kidding.
Pervert.
Dude, she's very athletic.
Yeah.
I don't know that she's tough.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anytime she's kind of been in that, and the thing is she left Team Alpha Male, and I thought that was the one thing that could kind of get her there, right?
Yeah.
If you notice with like Team Alpha Male guys, they're all like go out on your sword type fucking dudes, all of them. They're all like, we don't tap.
Yeah.
Like they just have this mental conditioning, you know. Maybe because of the wrestling background. I don't really know if that comes from Uriah. You know, he went on his shield a lot. They all did. They're all like that, and I don't know if that's maybe the underlying reason why she left them, or maybe it's just Cody. But the point being, she just doesn't strike me as like someone with a broken nose that can pull a Rory. Although that's the exception, not the rule. I don't know. She's very talented. She does crazy shit. She's got she has fantastic cadence when she needs to, but she doesn't manipulate it enough. It's like she doesn't have the right people in place coaching her, maybe. And I mean no disrespect to any of her coaches. I don't even know who's coaching her at this point. But like someone who's a fantastic dancer, let's say, they understand rhythm very well. And you should also know how to adjust your cadence and be a good striker because of it. If you just have a coach who's kind of like teaching you the path to that, you know, even if there's coaches that don't call it cadence, but they understand cadence. There's boxers too, you know, because in boxing it's kind of everything. I don't know. I can't. I see her losing, and I don't think it'll be that much of an upset.
Yeah,
I don't know.
On the tough one, I do think she's tough. I think in the Rose Namajunas fight, she showed she was tough in parts. I think maybe.
I mean, she's in the UFC. She's not a, you know.
Yeah,
she's not tough.
I thought she pushed through that pretty well. Like, she was getting beat up for probably 4 of them 5 rounds on the ground. So I thought she was tough there. Maybe the Michelle Waterson one was a bit. Maybe she showed less, or she was kind of not getting.
It was that fight. That was a little.
Yeah, she kind of got beaten fairly easy. The Beck Rawlins performance was very, very good. So she's been up and down, but she's also, you know, again, she's really young in her career, so it's hard to say how she is. Jessica Rose Clark, she fought against the other Aussie girl, Beck Rawlins last, and she looked very good. She's what I'd kind of describe her as like a kind of workman-like fighter, where she just does everything pretty well.
She does enough to win a fight.
Yeah, and I do think I'm probably going to pick her as well because of that. I think she's just better in most areas than Paige VanZant. I do think Paige VanZant probably has more of an X factor on the feet, where you kind of seen the Beck Rawlins one where she knocked her out with that jumping
I think
crazy
karate kick.
Yeah. I remember I picked him, and when we throw it back to the Rose Namajunas fight, I was like, scrambles is where Rose got to win. I just say scrambles when Rose fights, but funny, I think scrambles is where Paige VanZant can win this fight.
Yeah, she is quite good there. Yeah,
like I think she can be. Do you know what it is? She's wild in a non-violent way. Does that make sense? As that she can be a bit wild in the flurries she throws, and they're obviously not insane knockout powers, but she's got finishes in her as she done to Beck Rawlins. So I think if momentum, in a way, Brendan, it's almost to agree with what you're saying. I think when momentum of a fight is behind Paige VanZant, that's when she steams. But when the momentum is against her, that's when she buckles.
A front runner of sorts.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, to say tough, I don't mean like at a barbecue. She fucked bitches up. I'm saying, like, when it comes to the highest level, a ranked UFC fighter, we're talking about the toughest people on the planet, right? Period. So when it comes to, like, if it gets tough, if the fight gets tough, is she the type to just persevere and pull out a submission when she's hurt?
Yeah, I agree. Like, I know. I think the
momentum's a good way to put it.
Yeah, I think the definition of tough, the way you're going with it, I agree with. Where she lasted against Rose Namajunas, she held on and she kind of lasted longer than she probably a lot of other fighters would, but she never looked like she could turn it around. I suppose that's
right.
The way you were saying.
It was just like hanging on without like.
Yeah.
It's almost like Bisping not tapping the GSP's choke in a way.
Do you know what fight? Do you know what fight sums it up? She doesn't have in her what Miesha Tate had when she beat Holly Holm.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like a submission when you're getting fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was losing that fight badly.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, like, and it wasn't just the submission, it was the way she did it. Like, Holly tried to spike her onto her fucking spinal cord. Should have been a disaster for my girlfriend. But
congratulations, actually, she's
Thank you.
Pregnant. Yeah, congratulations.
I'm very excited.
Apologies, a little beat on.
I didn't think I was going to announce till later, but she jumped all over it. So
Miesha and Brendan.
Miesha.
But yeah, funny. I'm gonna pick Paige here.
Nice.
I think it's a 3-round fight.
Did you want to say you were gonna pick before the?
I was thinking about it, but I've talked myself into it.
Good.
So I think a 3-round fight is going to suit her as well. There's not the main event or the 5 rounds pressure in it. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Paige VanZant here.
Yeah, I think I know, like, it's a more manageable fight for Paige VanZant. I think this is our level. Like, this is where this is the girl she can be. But I'm gonna go with Jessica Rose Clark to outpoint her.
This is the girl you can't beat, but she's not gonna beat her because I'm picking Rose Clark. Brendan, what's your shot?
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I feel like matchmakers now know enough to get wins for their pretty boys and girls.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick Paige via matchmaking.
Heard it here first. Sean Shelby's going to get in. He's going to smash 2 beer cans. Stone cold stunner. And then she'll come in and finish. Yeah, brilliant. Wonderful stuff. Co-main event of the evening sees Vitor Belfort taking on Uriah Hall. This is... I have to say, this is
Interesting.
it's a weird fight. It depends which Uriah Hall, for me, turns up as well. The Uriah Hall can turn up and be like the best looking guy doing crazy spin attacks. He's a big win in a fight that he was losing, but it also depends what doctor Vitor Belfort has been seen recently. For me, it depends if he has Jesus on his trunks, because when he has Jesus on his trunks, he looks ripped. When Jesus isn't on his trunks, he doesn't look ripped. But I primarily think like a Uriah Hall that turns up wins this fight every time. A Uriah Hall who just, that sometimes Uriah Hall just doesn't turn up for a fight. Vitor beats him. But more importantly, what does Brendan Dorman think?
I think that Jesus has some really good human growth hormones, somatropin, test, and I think the fight's not in Brazil.
Yeah.
So probably a song for Vitor, I would think. Just being reasonable here. Because his body like immediately went to dog shit. Uriah Hall's strength is his weakness. It's that he's very relaxed, which allows him to pull off a lot of his insane striking technique, but he's too relaxed sometimes. And he gets caught, like when he beat Mousasi, he was losing, and then he pulls off this crazy technique because he was calm amidst the storm, right? And he does this a lot, but when you saw him like fight Gastelum before Gastelum was what he is now, way before that, you were like, what the fuck? Like, this guy was supposed to win. He's supposed to be the guy. And you just saw him kind of break early. And you've seen him break since a few times. So it's funny that we just kind of talked on this tough thing, and I wasn't thinking, I don't mean tough the show, I mean toughness. We were just talking about this with Paige, and I wasn't thinking of, like, he's one of the best examples of it ever. When he's down in a fight, he's, like, frustrated, and you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like he doesn't care. It's hard to explain. He's so talented, and he's probably the nicest guy ever. And if I met him, I probably wouldn't say all this shit. I don't know him at all, so I will.
Do you know what it is? It's like, sorry to interrupt you. It's like, I'll use an NFL analogy. It's like having this incredible wide receiver, and like one game he'll be like, you'll go, oh my god, this guy is the greatest receiver in the world. And then for like 5 or 6 games, he just doesn't show up, and you're like, what the
Randy
fuck,
Moss.
man?
There's a guy named Randy Moss.
But it's like he can be the MVP of a team, and then you don't see him for like 6, 7 weeks.
Like if you're a casual fan and you see him that one day he's amazing, you'll probably think he's the best fighter in the world.
But when you look at his last 3 fights, his last 3 defeats, I should say, not his last 3 fights. His last fight was a victory over Chris Jocko. But if you look at his previous 3 fights before that were losses, but they're big names: Gegard Mousasi, Derek Brunson, and Robert Whittaker, the reigning champion.
He done okay against Robert Whittaker
so
as well.
It's like he falls at, and the reason why I'm using the frustration is because I remember watching, we're saying tough, and I actually do mean The Ultimate Fighter. I remember when Uriah Hall was on The Ultimate Fighter, Chael Sonnen was saying, this guy could beat Anderson Silva right now.
Yeah.
He could beat Anderson Silva right now. That's how good this guy is. And that's why I'm using the frustration thing, because I think when Uriah Hall is turned on, he's one of the most enjoyable fighters to watch. Like, the techniques...
He's wonderful to watch.
It's phenomenal.
His technique is...
Well, it's just like that knockout on The Ultimate Fighter. Like,
oh God, savage. He does that in sparring a lot, too much, to be honest. If I had a student that was knocking that many sparring partners out, he'd need to sit down with me. But he's a fucking killer when he wants to be a killer, and sometimes he wants to sit on the bench, like the NFL analogy, right? You could use a few, but it works perfect. That's exactly it. It's like when he's on, he's great. When he's off, you're like, what happened? What happened to you? Yeah. And it just seems like another case of this toughness thing that I'm speaking to. It's the same thing. It's like I don't see him ever coming from behind with an eye fucked up. He's not that guy.
In fairness,
he's a front runner, like in horse racing.
His last win goes against that grain because he was losing the Jocko.
There's 2 fights that I'll point out that it differentiates that, but I do agree.
Mousasi as well.
The Mousasi one as well. That was probably a little
bit
more
luckier. He didn't get fucked up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, he was getting
Before,
beaten. Yeah, the Jocko one.
He was losing on the cards, but he never got
he was very
fucking
close.
Jiggly.
He was very close to getting choked out.
Yeah, choked out in the force, but he wasn't getting beat up as in.
Save him? I can't remember.
I'm talking about pain.
Yeah, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's one thing I will say is that Vitor Belfort is that type of guy where maybe it kind of works against and for him, where Vitor Belfort could come in and he can start really quickly and he can hurt Uriah Hall really, really quickly.
Yeah.
But
Which he does do sometimes.
Exactly, he does do sometimes. But also, his gas tank doesn't last that long. And a lot of guys who have beat Uriah Hall are guys with good gas tanks that can beat him over 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So
good point.
Is Vitor a good opponent for Hall? Because he will bring the action. Is he a good opponent for Uriah Hall to counter?
Another crossroads fight, differently in a different kind of way.
Yeah.
They're going this way, like it's different directions. You know, one's like kind of trying to come up. It's a slow, gradual plane.
Yeah.
The other one's doing this, and they're just meeting. You know,
it's Vitor Belfort's last fight,
crossroads up
right?
there.
Yeah.
It's Vitor's last fight.
It's a swan song.
Well, he said it was.
Oh,
anyway.
it definitely is?
Well, he said it was, so, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. No, I didn't know. I was saying
You heard
that.
it here first on Obviously Fight Night by Robert Pallet.
Yeah.
Speculatively.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He said his next one would be his last fight. Yeah, it's a good fight, but I don't know. It's a hard one to rate, I think. I think it's a really, really hard one to rate. In
For
terms
me,
of
it's the simple.
But I think
it's the Uriah Hall coin flip.
Yeah.
Which one turns up?
Exactly.
If the right one turns up, he beats Vitor and he beats him handily.
Yeah, I think he has all the attributes.
I'll tell you what.
And
I always do this. It's like the 90-second rule, or even a minute. I'll tell you a minute into the fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Could
what
be
I mean?
over with it.
As soon as I see him moving around, I'll know.
Yeah.
I'll know.
You'd like to see the old MMA fan, and you would like to see Vitor go out, you know what I mean, with a win.
If he wins,
and technically, we're saying it's in Missouri. If it's his last fight, does he give a fuck if he's caught by USADA?
Money, suspension, probably.
No.
Yeah.
He's clearly not against it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
30 fucking years.
Yeah.
So what's your pick?
I'm going to say Uriah Hall turns up.
Yeah.
I'm afraid that he might have too much respect for Belfort, though. You know the way sometimes the way that happens for some guys is that they're like, oh, you're my hero. God always stands for me when Pat Berry fought Mirko Krokop. He was way too respectful of Krokop. He should have went after him.
Yeah.
But so I'd be a little worried at that for Hall because he's like, you know, Belfort is a legend of the game. This is potentially his last fight.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, great stuff. Let's spar and get beaten, you know, because Belfort, I could see him going out in a sword. But if the right Uriah Hall, I'm going Uriah Hall. The right Uriah Hall.
I think Uriah Hall has like all the attributes to beat him. He has the youth. He should really beat him at this point in Belfort's career.
Of course.
Belfort just has that thing where, of course, he rushes at the start. He rushes. He could land something. Uriah Hall isn't necessarily great defensively going backwards. He can land, but sometimes he gets caught. So that's the only thing I'll be afraid of. But apart from that, if Vitor doesn't land pretty early and look good early, I think Uriah Hall should beat him handily. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Hall because it's in the U.S.
We could have just said
a
that
regional
as well.
pick.
Respect, porra, caralho.
Your main event, this is an absolute cracker of a fight as well. In the 145 division, we've got Jeremy Stevens taking on Doho Choi. This is a cracker. Brendan, I want to let you talk briefly about this one first.
Savage of a fight, man. This could be a first round, and it could be boring. Who knows? I doubt it.
No.
Stevens at that weight he really is, like, as much as he made a goof by saying it when he did, he really is a put you to sleep guy, you know. And Choi, for that weight class, has probably the craziest chin I've ever seen. See, the thing with the Swanson fight was Swanson was catching him, but Swanson's never really been a power guy. He'll hurt you, and then he'll do more damage, and then he'll hurt you again. You know what I mean? It's cumulative, like he did with Seaver. The only guy he ever really like one punch knocked out was Oliveira with that overhand right, and he's kind of like a chinny guy or whatever. He cracks, you know. Whereas Cub doesn't really put people to sleep. Cub showed good heart in that fight, you know, because when I think of him, that's what I'm always going to think of now is that incredible fight. It's one of the best I've ever seen. It was so good. It was so much incredible technique and everything else. But the point being is it's kind of like irresistible force, a movable object, or, you know, whatever analogy you want to use, where you've got power, and a guy that can take it. And neither of them are like a better striker than the other. I don't think. I think they're kind of. I think Stevens has better, like Little Heathen has better like kicks, right? He's got a better kick game, maybe a few more tricks up his sleeve.
Especially the last
and
one,
and the Superboy's more of a straight ahead like timing guy, very accurate.
Very accurate.
Like so, they're both good. They're just good in different ways.
Yeah.
I don't think one's much better of a striker, you know. But I think they'll stand and fight. I don't see that being a jiu-jitsu chess match, you know.
I think Dai Ho Choi is a much better striker. For me, Brendan, what you were saying, like, I think Choi here will use his technique and almost his straight punches and technique and accuracy, because a lot of times Jeremy Stephens sits down on his shots when he's thrown them, and that could be the downfall.
Too much.
He gets caught in them. He starts winging, and I think like it's the sort of fight that you go, oh my God, what a fight! But at the same time, you're like, holy shit, man, defend yourself as well. And they're the fights that where he shines. But I don't know. I just see Do Choi getting clipping him here, and I just see him getting the finish here. I think
bringing up the leg kicks was a good one, because that Gilbert Melendez fight, Gilbert Melendez leg after that fight with Jeremy Stephens was horrific. Well. It was absolutely horrific. And if you watch
like
the way,
hematoma, I think.
Oh yeah, it was
close to it.
It looked like a sausage.
Yes,
it looked like an uncooked sausage. It was disgusting looking. But if you look at the way Do Ho Choi fights, as you said, he's a very boxing heavy style, and he's very boxing heavy in his stance. His front leg is always there. In his fight against Cub Swanson, Cub didn't really do anything with it, but I could see Jeremy Stephens really kicking him in the front leg. I couldn't really see it can happen.
Cub's a tricky striker, not a power striker. He's so different. He's the opposite of Stephens. Well, maybe the opposite of Choi too, but he's definitely the opposite of Stephens in that Cub's like fake uppercut into lead 10 high kick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, that's insanity. He just does crazy shit, but he doesn't put people to sleep. Yeah. Stephens lands, and you're going to sleep, but he has to land, and Choi doesn't, like, move his head much. It's like there's a lot of damage that can be taken in this fight, and it can happen really early, like really early. Yeah. He does he sits too much on his punches. Yeah. He does have vicious leg kicks. He does have a heavy, everything everyone's saying is correct, but what's going to happen? Who's made more adjustments since their last fight? Yeah. Who's watched more film? You know, it's going to be that match. I didn't mean it wouldn't be a chess match. I just meant it wouldn't be on the ground. Yeah.
Well, I think it's going to be one of the fights where you literally just sat looking at your TV on.
Yeah.
And the big thing as well is 5 rounds.
I hope so.
It's also a big test for Choi because, as we said in the most-watched fights, it's a weird one that the UFC will match someone like Do Ho Choi who just come off a really tough fight against a high-ranked guy and match him up again with a really tough guy, highly ranked, and coming off a win. So they obviously see a lot in him. So it's going to be a big test to see what Do Ho Choi can do coming back after a vicious loss. Not that he got beaten up, he was dominated like throughout the whole thing and it was one-sided. It wasn't, but he got probably hit as much as he's got hit in his whole career, and now he has to come back against another killer.
If you go back one more fight for Do Ho Choi, now again it's going back a while, it's in the summer of 2016, but Thiago Tavares, who is, you could say, similar-ish style fighter to Jeremy Stephens, similar sort of throws, heavy, wild, sits down
Sam
on the shot
Cecilia
sometimes.
could be similar as well,
and he's finished both
on the level.
But he's
similar.
finished both of them in the first round, so he's fought similar style. You know,
it'd be interesting to see the straight punches versus Jeremy Stephens looping crazy over. Exactly. Yeah. So that's a.
This is striking. Is everyone who's watching that watches and likes when I give technical little advice? There's a few I see in the comment section. Quickest line, right? A to B is always it's a straight line.
Punch,
fastest path. Yeah, when someone wings, it's like street fight. It's self-defense 101. Yeah. When someone's coming at you and they tend to throw hooks or overhands, it's just about being straight.
Yeah.
It's the slicing paper effect, right?
Yeah.
It's like the way you want to think about your hands is you're cutting through a piece of paper. You know? Like Phil Nurse said to me probably one of the first times I trained with him, stop falling in love with your power. And he's one of those guys, whenever he'd say something, I never would get it then. I'd get it by the time I saw him the next time. Yeah. What he was saying was like, you've got enough. Like, it's all about landing. It's not about, because it's too slow now and now I can clip you. Because Phil's he's smaller than I am. So he could catch me whenever he wants with speed. So stop falling in love with your power was like, stop telegraphing. You're trying to hit too hard. Instead of just, because someone like Stephens has natural power. Yeah. It's like when you watch Ngannou move, he's relaxed, man. That's where a lot of that comes from. Is he's not tensing till probably it actually hits.
Yeah.
His hand's probably loose like this, and then, that's how it hits. it's like I wish we were all in the same room so I could show you more, but it's about relaxation. And like you said, you'll see him throw a right hand and then his right leg will follow it after from the momentum. And it's a guy that's an accurate straight puncher. Usually I'd favor if it was only punching. But there's leg kicks, which changes the whole fucking dynamic. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really, really, really good fight, isn't it? Pick. Really, really. I'm gonna pick Doo Ho Choi. I think he's gonna come back. I think he could make it look easy if it happens the way you said it and the way you're talking about the straight punches versus the looping punches. Doo Ho Choi, if you watch the way he fights, he makes his reads really, really quickly against Sam Cecilia, and Sam Cecilia is on a completely different level than Jeremy Stephens. I can see at that point, but I think if he can make reads early and Jeremy Stephens doesn't go with the leg kicks, doesn't move around as much as he did against Gilbert Melendez and fights maybe the way he used to fight, I think Doo Ho Choi can land something really early.
I'm on the Doo Ho Choi train as well. I just think he's going to be faster, be more accurate, and he's going to use the momentum of Stephens' attacks against him and cut the angles and get out of there. I'd be interested. You're right, Brendan. He does get caught an awful lot. We've seen that in the Cub fight. But again, I just think Cub throws crazy technique, as you were saying as well. They're weird combinations and weird shots that Cub. Stephens doesn't really.
More traditional, but just kind of wings.
It's absolutely fucks the garden shedages he's thrown them. So I just think that Doo Ho Choi is going to be fast. He's going to be accurate, and he's going to pick him off. I think we're going to be blown away.
Can't wait for that.
We haven't seen him in a while, and I always say, like, when these young guys go off and come back, you're looking and going, holy shit, this guy just went up so many levels. And it's quite funny. It seems to be the theme in a way of today's breakdown is the crossroads. And I'm not saying Stephens is on the way down by any means, but I just think this is a big opportunity.
He's still a veteran.
Yeah. You know? Oh yeah. And I just think that Choi is on the way up more so, and I just think that time away, and the Cub Swanson, it could be a big learning curve from that defeat. I just see him getting the finish here.
What's your under the radar fight from the prelims?
Brendan hasn't picked.
I hasn't picked.
I'll pick and then we'll do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Stephens just on a gut.
Nice.
Just on a gut feeling.
Nice.
I don't like the thing about Choi is he lands a lot, but he gets landed on.
Yeah.
And unless he improves his head movement and his kind of like, or his footwork or something to be a little more evasive and a little less press forward, because Stephens can counter. He can fight as a counter puncher. He does load up, but I can see like the leg kick thing coming into play again too. I don't know. That's the way I see it playing out. I think Stephens is going to put him to sleep.
One thing as well, I think we don't give Stephens credit for not getting hit that much. He doesn't really get hit that much. He gets hit to the body quite a bit. He gets hit to the legs quite a bit, but to the face,
he's pretty evasive actually. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Like he seems like the guy who would get hit a lot the way he strikes.
Because most clubbing type punchers aren't evasive, but he is. He's anomalous as a fighter.
Yeah.
Really is. He doesn't fit in a category. No. You know.
Under the radar, I think it's the easy one to pick, isn't it? I can't believe it's the now. I know what they're doing because it's going to be on Fight Pass and it's going to be the Fight Pass main event or FS1's prelims, whatever if you're in the US of A. So
FS1 sucks dick. Sorry.
Proudly brought to you by obviously Fight Talk. Elkins and Johnson. Crazy fight. Hard to believe it's so down the card.
Love it.
Big fight for Michael Johnson. Like again, this whole crossroads thing. Johnson is coming off 2 defeats. His last defeat was a heavy defeat as well to Justin Gaethje, and he got absolutely murdered by your boy Khabib. So Johnson is in a lot of things, and then you swing the roundabout to the other side, and you look like Elkins is on a run, man. And that comeback against Bečić, holy lamb, Jesus Christ, he's got the best tattoo in mixed martial arts as well. So for me here, Johnson goes on. Johnson talks. If you see him on Twitter, he talks a lot. I'm a top ranked guy, blah blah blah. Top ranked guys, man, you got to start winning, and that's no disrespect to Johnson, but he's 2 in a hole here, and this is a dangerous fight against a madman who isn't done until he's done.
Yeah, 2 fights in a row with him like that, right? Yeah. Of guys he's going against, 3. Yeah. Of course, right? One doesn't even count. That was such a massacre. But he's going to 145. It'll be interesting. I don't know that Johnson's dynamic enough to be all that different 10 pounds down. No, Yeah. It's the guys that have that one-punch power that when they move down, especially like pre-USADA days, I don't know. I root for the guy. We have the same circle, of friends, but I don't know. tough for me to pick a winner. I like the fight, and I think they're just, like you said, trying to promote the undercard with that. But there's also Thiago Alves used to be one of my guys I loved watch fighting. I got to train with him once when I was down in Florida. He had the best leg kicks, just like Ernesto Hoost or close to it in an MMA context. But man, that guy's just falling off. Yeah. I'd like to see him get back on track. I don't know if it's too little, too late, but there's another under the radar one too.
Tough fight for him against Zach Cummins though, because you'd be fair to Zach
Cummins is a beast too. Absolutely. I know.
So it'd be interesting to see what style fight it is. I don't see Zach Cummins standing for too long with playing that game with.
No,
and Cummins is huge. Cummins is absolutely enormous as well for that weight class.
He's a massive dude for his weight class. Yeah. Is that one? They're 170 years.
Yeah, 170. Right? Yeah.
170.
Yeah. Because Alves tried that 155 move. Yeah. He used to watch when he fought GSP. He was 205, UFC 100. He was 205 in the cage.
He's so short and stocky though, isn't he? He's way
shorter than me.
Yeah,
probably 5'8", 5'7".
Would you say it's a fair representation though, Brendan, to say that Thiago Alves is the classic, hasn't evolved his game as the sport has evolved? Maybe.
Well, I'm not good enough friends with him that I'm going to protect him. Yeah. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When did he fall off? You know?
Yeah.
It wasn't George beat him into oblivion. I mean, George did that to everyone back then. Yeah. It wasn't that. It was a certain entity post an injury, you know? Couldn't make weight anymore, you know? Yeah. I mean, you look at the before and after, and it's right there killing you. And I don't like it any more than he'd like me saying it, but it is what it is, man. You know? If I'm not being honest, I always say this, then why even talk? You know?
Yeah.
It's right there. He was like a bodybuilder before. Yeah. Now he's an athlete.
I'm gonna go with under the radar the James Krause Alex Roy fight. I think it could be a good one. I like James Krause. I thought he was gonna do a little bit better in the UFC than he has done so far, but he made a comeback in his last one.
He was a Bama guy, right? Wasn't he?
James Krause? I don't believe so.
Who did he fight for before? What was his last?
I think he fought RFA or Titan or something.
Yeah, it was RFA.
He's fought for a long time.
I'm thinking of somebody else.
Yeah. I like that fight. I like that fight. He was on Tough twice, I think, wasn't he?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, he was on Tough twice. Yeah, he won the Tough season, the last one, the Redemption one.
I still don't follow that shit. It bores me.
Either do I. I never watch it. I hate it.
I used to like it. Yeah. I liked it back in the day when the early days.
Yeah, when they used to piss in each other's pillows and stuff.
Ejaculate into one another's ejaculate into one another's raw fish stuff.
Yeah, you know, classy TV. Yeah,
classy TV.
The first season had so many good fighters, man.
It did. Yeah, it did.
The first
Chris Lieben and all in it. And fucking out of their bin. Yeah, Kenny Florian was in it. The first one was Griffin and Ting.
Yeah,
Kenny Florian. You mean Thomas Jefferson?